Hey guys, RC here, back with a new Let's Play, and this one's going to be using Draft Day Sports College Football 2017. I've played with the game enough that I've got kind of a comfort level with it, not anything outstanding for sure, but definitely a little more comfortable with how things work. So usually when I get to this point with a game, I like to start doing a few different tests with it and start trying some different things. And one of the things that I historically have done with college football games harkens back to my early days of watching college football. And I am not an Oklahoma Sooner fan by any stretch of the imagination, but if you were around in the 70s and early 80s, uh, there were two teams that ran the Wishbone and ran it very well, and that was the Nebraska Cornhuskers and the Oklahoma Sooners, both of whom were in the same conference, in the Southwest Conference, which was the precursor to the Big Eight, which led to the Big 12 that we have today. And of course, Nebraska has moved on to the Big Ten more recently. But the big issue that we had with the previous game, or the other college football game that we play, is the option attack was really not viable. There were a couple of things people tried to make it better, but if you're familiar with option football, you end up with two running backs and a fullback lining up in a triangle formation behind the quarterback. So you have the quarterback under center. The fullback is right behind him at about 3 yards, and then you have the two running backs that are split just like a typical pro formation, uh, where you would normally see the fullback and running back side by side. You actually have two running backs, and it takes the dual threat quarterback that we've seen in the spread attack more recently and makes him a running threat as well as hopefully a little bit of a passing threat. Typically, it was very difficult to find uh, guys that could pass as well as they could run, but the typical play was a dive to the fullback. He was basically your primary player, and he would be the one running between the tackles. And then you would fake the dive. The fullback would go into the line, and then you would have a right or a left option where the quarterback would run just like a running spread attack. He would read the defensive end or the linebacker, and then he would either pitch to the running back going out wide to the right or the left, or he would cut it inside off tackle and turn it upfield, um, and he could run that in either direction. So I wanted to give that a try. Oklahoma had a saying back under Barry Switzer that their goal every game was to hang half 100 on an opponent, which means they would score at least 50 points. And they did that pretty regularly. And you would see these teams roll up 3, 4, 500 yards of rushing in a game. Very ball control oriented, but very explosive. Um, it was not uncommon for them to break long runs. Now, of course, now we have a modern game that's 2017, and even though I've put a year in much earlier, 1976, it's still the 2017 game. So I'm curious to see how the game reacts to um, to the wishbone attack, to the option attack. So, a couple of things that I've done, just real quick. I have started to play with the playbook a little bit, but you can see I have basically changed everything to either the option or the spread, or I have two special playbooks that I've put in called My Wishbone and My Wishbone Passing, which has more heavily leaned towards passing plays. Um, I'm I'm going to go backfield by committee here. Tempo, let's go fast. And I'll show you the playbooks because, again, this is the first time I'm ever touching the playbook in the game. So, again, I've gotten enough understanding to probably be dangerous to myself, but I don't know how it's going to affect in the game. So, basically, it tells you when you create a new playbook that it has to have at least 3 run plays and 3 pass plays, and you have to put in here's your list of all the plays and all the formations in the game, and a weight. And the higher the weight, the more frequent the game will call that play when the playbook comes up. So I have put in a fullback dive, standard play, off tackle left, power dive, which would be very similar to a between the guards run in today's offense, where the fullback leads but is a blocking back, and then one of the running backs would take the handoff and follow the fullback into the line. A quick screen, pitch right, option left, option right, which are the predominant plays in the Wishbone attack. And you see I've got all the running plays weighted at 8 or 10. And then I have the post and the skinny unders. And the screen as well is my third pass play. Now you can add more plays. You just have to have a minimum of 6, 3 of each type of play. I wanted to go with a little bit more, and then I wanted a passing option, so I wanted to go slants, skinny checks, flies, deep crosses are 4 pass plays. 3 of those are rated 8s, and then we have off tackle, off tackle, and then the 2 option plays weighted as a 4. And then when I went into my play calling, you can see I put in either my running wishbone package, my passing wishbone package in several slots, and then I've used the default option or the spread offense as well. Now the other thing I have done is I have gone into my depth chart, and Fullerton is my primary let's see, let me go to my spread attack here. So Fullerton is my primary guy, but you notice he's not very agile and doesn't have great speed. He's not bad, and he actually is a pretty good passer. Now the other person is Muller. Now he's a redshirt freshman, and his agility is better, his speed is better, not as good a passer. Okay, so if I was running any type of standard offense, I would definitely go with Fullerton. But what I've done is in the Wishbone, why is it not showing it? I know I did it a second ago. Alright, well, I guess I have to change it again. Alright, so I want Mayers, Fullerton, then I want Muller here. Alright, and then in the spread though, Fullerton is still going to be my primary guy. So if it's more of a passing situation, I want my better passer in there. If it's going to definitely be a wishbone with the option, I want the more athletic quarterback. And honestly, this is something that I foresee having to really recruit a specific type quarterback for that role. So that's kind of what I've done there. And we'll see how it goes. I'll try to, I'll work on tweaking it as I go. But, I thought this might make an interesting Let's Play just for a college football. I've gotten pretty good results with my college baseball for Out of the Park. So hopefully a couple of those guys will be checking out these videos. Hopefully. If not, well, at least, I'll be putting up videos nonetheless. So we've already done our red shirts. I didn't think anybody wanted to sit through that. And we're going to go in and recruit now. Now, the first thing I always check is my recommended targets, and that'll tell me. And I went with Oklahoma, that way I could potentially go after every player in the game. And what you can see here is our recommended recruits are top out at number 3, which means we can actually go again for anybody. You can go higher, but you can't go too much higher. So if your top guy is say number 800, you might stretch and go into the 600s, the hot, like 680, somewhere around there. You probably wouldn't get a guy at 620. Now, it's not saying you won't, but your chances go down dramatically. So, anyway, let's see. I first off want to get an idea of what I need. Now these videos are probably going to take a little longer per episode because this game, the recruiting is actually done each week. So we don't need anything for next year except for one strong safety. We have to have one of those. So I'm going to make that my first priority. And I'm going to look at strong safeties first and foremost. Now, Wisconsin, I'll be battling teams like Ohio State, Michigan, might not be the best area for me to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by distance, and I'm going to try to stay within 500 miles of Oklahoma, of Norman. So the top guy is this Terry, Mississippi. All right, so I'm just gonna add these top 3 guys. I'm going to schedule interviews with all 3 of them. And then this is a trick that I learned, okay? If I click on this first guy, Stephen Taylor, you can see his interest is a 31, and that's before I've done anything. If I pop 10 points on him, now his interest peaks at a 98. So it tells me he's highly interested. Okay, so we're going to go with that, and I'm going to leave the scouting off for right now, but I'm going to go ahead and offer him. Let me put 10 points here. Same thing, he's up to a 95, so we'll offer him. And he's at a 96, so we're going to offer him. So hopefully I land at least one of those 2 guys. If I get 2 of them, that's okay. And if I do get at least one to sign at some point, then I'll probably back off of one of the other ones. Okay, so we're going to come off of that, and now I want to specifically look for a quarterback. Okay, now here's what's going to be interesting. All right, I need to reset that so those disappear. All right, so there's not many quarterbacks rated very high, and I'm guessing any of the taller people will not be very good. I'm going to be looking for guys in the 6', 6'2" range, probably, maybe even 5'11". So just out of curiosity, I'm going to add him. I'm going to add all my 4 stars, and I'm going to add those guys. So I want to schedule interviews first. The reason you schedule your interviews, and you may not need to do that for your higher ranked guys, but what that's going to do is it's going to show all of the information here, and it's also going to unlock any special. So this is a specific detail for that player at that position. Not every player has one of these, so they might be like a workout warrior. But what I'm going to be looking for in the quarterbacks specifically is a dual threat quarterback. That's what I'm going to be looking to come up. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put on 5 points and 10 points to each quarterback. Now, the reason I'm going to put points on scouting points on these guys is, and I can't do it to all because look, boom, I've just used my last scouting point. Now I'm going to go ahead and recruit these guys. I'm not going to offer any of them yet until I know what I'm dealing with. But the reason that you want to put scouting points is because scouting points is what opens this side of the page for information purposes. And I'm going to be specifically looking for speed and agility, primarily for the running ability of that quarterback. And then arm, intelligence, and accuracy are going to be the secondary things, which are your primary passing stats, at least in my opinion. Now, I've still got 103 recruiting points left. I don't have any scouting points, and that's okay. It just means I can't schedule any interviews for the rest of the week, and that's okay too. So I want to turn that off, and now we want to look at every position. Okay, so now you kind of need to pick and choose. All right, and you see if I've recruited everybody, and I hit not recruiting, it wipes out that screen and keeps it to where I can see everything at a glance without having to scroll down a list here. So free safety I did not need, but now we're just kind of going for, you know, the best that we can find. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the free safety. I'm going to look at the tackle out of Austin. Arnoldville's probably going to get a lot of attention from LSU and a little further away from me. And the 5 stars also get a lot of attention, and that's okay. I'm going to go after a running back, defensive end, center. I already got a couple of tackles. Tell you what, I'm going to put him on just as a backup. Cornerback, wide receiver. See, we're already into the 4 stars because of our distance, and that's okay. You're going to find that sometimes your 3 stars are going to be better than your 4 stars, and going after 4 stars is going to be maybe a little friendlier to you than going after 5 stars earlier in the game. I've already got a strong safety, defensive tackle, fullback. I definitely would need a fullback. There's a guard, defensive tackle, another fullback, another receiver, another corner. There's a linebacker. Let me come up and add that linebacker. I have found linebackers to be very hard to recruit, and I think that was my first. All right, and we're going to add 2 tight ends. And I think that's enough for right now. Let me just kind of, now we'll just start here at the top. And I'm going to go ahead and offer and recruit. I can't do any scouting because, again, those scouting points are gone, but that's okay. Scouting points and interviews, again, just open up the information on the pages. It's the recruiting points that actually garner the interest of the player. That's you calling the player, that's you visiting the player, that's your assistants calling and visiting the player, that's sending out tweets and posting his picture on Facebook wearing your team uniform, things of that nature. All right, so there's 10. Now I have 3 points left. Honestly, 3 points is going to be an insult to anybody I put it on, but I'm still going to put it on the next guy just to start building up points, because what happens is you spend 10 points and then next week he'll have a total of 10. The next week he'll have a total of 20. So at least if nobody's recruiting this guy, I can start building up points. And then if I come off any of these quarterbacks, which I am going to do next week, I know, then I can apply those points here. If somebody's gotten on him at that point, then I come off of him and I don't really lose anything. Because if I don't recruit him anyway, like all these guys down here, well, then I still can't do anything with them. All right, so I've done my roster, my depth chart. I've put in my game plan. I've done my first week recruiting. So let's go play a game and see how our option attack works. So basically we're going to let the game simulate the week, and then we'll go back in and check. And what you'll notice, I don't know if it's something with the optimization of the game. As we get further into the season, it does take longer and longer for each week to correlate. All right, so we opened up with the Arizona State Sun Devils. We beat them 40-14. Now let's take a look at how we did that. So first off, I just want to look at my scoring summary. So we got a field goal, a 20-yard pass, a 64-yard pass, a field goal, 2-yard run, and a 25-yard pass. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm saying that my option attack did not work because all of our scores came via the pass, basically. Now, we were 17 first downs, 500 yards of offense, 376 passing. We did have 44 rushes for 124 yards. That's not really good. Okay, well, we did control the clock. All right, Muller is my redshirt freshman, which is the one that I put in for my option attacks, and he only had 9 attempts, but Fullerton, who was only supposed to be in non-option, means he was in on all those spread attacks, got a lot of playing time. 16 carries for 55 yards for Dove. He's a running back. Smith is a running back. Hinkle is my fullback. So again, that's kind of the issue we had with the other game. Your fullback should see quite a lot of carries in a game, and these guys should be having 20 to 30 carries each. I mean, they should be pounding the rock, especially that we are at a fast rate. And Muller had 2 carries for -9 yards. Well, if he's lined up under center and he's either running right down the line of scrimmage, he should not be getting hit for 4.5-yard losses. That means he got sacked while he was dropping back to pass. Okay, so we're going to go in and tweak a few things here. Let me check my email real quick. I want to check the time on the recording. Tell you what, I'm not going to get very far into the next week, and we're at 23 minutes. So let me go ahead and put a cut here, and then we'll pick up right here in the next video for week 2. So thanks for checking it out. I hope you tune in for future episodes, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.